This wasn't supposed to become a trip to Paris. It actually started with one night in France. We had just finished a road trip through the UK when we crossed the channel for the very first time. And somewhere between the ferry, the streets of Calais and a few French words, our daughter decided she wanted more. A few months later, we would actually come back. But this time, we weren't just passing through France. We were going to stay. Hi! We are Our Travel Journal, a family of 5 from Germany that loves experiencing the world, its people and wonders together. If you've seen our last video, you know that we saw a BTS concert in Paris. But let's go back to where today's story actually started. It was April, and we had just spent several weeks traveling through the UK. We had driven across England, explored cities, countryside, and some of the places we had always wanted to see. And eventually, it was time to leave the UK. So we drove to Dover. Put our car on the ferry and crossed the English Channel.
Emotional damage. Hamburger.
We've been waiting here for I don't know how long, but my mood is not the best anymore.
Oh, das Kind.
Yeah, there's a child on top of a car. When everyone was told to get in the car, when everyone was told to check in on time, we weren't able to. Simply because of the French border officers were extremely slow. So, as you can see, I'm quite pissed right now. But it seems like there's a lot of traffic, a lot of cars that want to be transported over from Great Britain to France, just like we do. So we are here in Dover right now, and we're supposed to be on the ferry already. What time do we have it now? It's 2:13, and the ferry is supposed to leave at 2:40, and you had to be checked-in last at 1:40, so more than half an hour ago, but it simply wasn't possible. Yeah, and I'm pissed because we were standing in the wrong lane, I guess, because on the left and on the right side they were all moving. It was just our lane that was standing still. And just like that, we were heading to France. For us, this wasn't really a planned France trip. France was simply the next country on the map. We had booked a night in Calais before continuing home, but we didn't know yet that this tiny stop would plant an idea that would stay with us for the next few months. And it actually started with Laila. Was sollen die machen?
Die müssen saufen.
Was?
Teilweise.
Teilweise echt? Verstehst du schon? Wie lange hast du jetzt Französisch? Ein Jahr erst, oder? Zwei? Zweites Jahr schon. Charcuterie, was ist das? Charcuterie, das kommt mir so bekannt vor.
Ich will ja gar keinen Speicher vergeuden, ganz ehrlich.
Yeah, okay. Calais wasn't beautiful at all. But for the kids, it was the very first time on French soil. And for Laila, who had already been learning French at school, everything made sense. Because suddenly, the language was not about studying in a classroom anymore, but was all around her.
Un éclair.
Toffee, vanilla,
Chocolat. Chocolat.
chocolat. Okay.
3 tartelettes fruits.
This?
Yes.
Und das daneben.
3, yes.
Das daneben vielleicht noch eher. Mal lieber.
Okay.
One of those behind it? Ja.
One?
Ja. Machen wir das so, haben wir einen mehr. Ist okay?
Okay.
Et une baguette.
Une.
Baguette.
Sehr gut.
No.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Merci. Aber, guck mal, ich glaube, wir können auch hier raushüpfen. Ha! Mission Baguette completed.
Hast du gemacht? Nein, hat es
Schwer.
Weißt du da jetzt so rein?
Baguette.
Guck mal, hier ist Panda. Nochmal bitte. Laila, very good job. How did you feel? You did a very good job.
Du kannst ruhig lauter reden.
Laila muss eine Kassette
Ich glaube, so wie du jetzt die Chance genutzt hast, um Französisch zu üben, hat sie die Chance genutzt, Englisch zu sprechen.
Ja, sie wird lieber Englisch sprechen.
Aber es ist eine Brasserie nach der nächsten.
Hier bereit. Fromagerie.
Fromagerie, ja stimmt.
Wir schauen. Gut.
Okay, wollen wir rüber? Kommt, lass uns einmal schnell rüber.
Ok, à tout à l'heure.
Atüte leer. Atüte leer, was heißt das?
Weiß ich nicht.
Ich auch nicht. Aber sie hat gesagt, Atüte leer. Be Happy Café.
Bis irgendwann.
And then Laila said something that at the time sounded like a simple little comment.
Ich würde gerne länger bleiben.
She wanted to stay in France longer. Well, obviously, we couldn't just stay. Yes, we did take a little detour. But then we still had to drive almost 800 kilometers all the way back home. But the idea stuck with us. We joked about being back in Brussels for the BTS concert when driving through Belgium. Maybe we should go back to France too. As a matter of fact, this is the Cologne Cathedral, which we came back to first. a few months later. Hello! Where are we right now?
In Köln.
Yes, in Cologne. We are in Cologne right now. About 5-hour drive from Hamburg. And our first stop was at the train station. Not because we came by train, but by car. But because everyone needed a toilet. And it's quite hard to find bathrooms here in the city center. But usually you find something on the train station. But there we had the first problem. Because first of all, you always have to pay. If you want to use the bathroom here in Germany, it's very rare if you find something where you don't have to pay. And whether you pay or not, it's dirty anyways. But then you usually get those kind of vouchers so that you can get a certain amount of money back to maybe, I don't know, get something to drink afterwards. And we plan to do that because it's quite hot today, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like 29 degrees Celsius. Beautiful summer weather. And of course we were all thirsty, but all the shops around that were supposed to accept those vouchers, they all said, no, none of those shops cooperate with whoever manages the bathrooms. I think that's really mismanagement. Yeah. But now we are on our way to what Cologne is really known for, the so-called Kölner Dom. So come along. Cash only, okay? Komm, eine Kugel da. That our grandparents once did a cruise on the river Rhine, I believe. I think it was. They probably also came through Cologne. And there is a boat right over here, which I think can be quite a unique experience. But just yesterday I saw on the news that they have a huge problem due to the weather. It has been very warm for a while now and not much rain came down. So the river is as, I don't know whether you say flat, as it has never been before. Like there is not enough water in there so that some ships even can't go anymore. And if they do, they have to be extremely careful.
Anyways, let's get back to today's story. It wasn't really about France. It was about Laila. She had completely fallen in love with French at school. She wasn't just doing well in the subject, she genuinely enjoyed it. Her grades were excellent, and even her teacher noticed how much enthusiasm she had for the language. So they actually encouraged us to support her more in that area. And as parents, that's one of those moments where you start thinking, what can we actually do with this? When you've been following our journey for a while, you know that we believe school is just a tiny part of learning for life. And while learning a language in a classroom is one thing, Actually hearing it, speaking it, having to use it in your everyday life is something completely different. So we said quite quickly, why don't we actually give Laila a chance to use the French she's been learning at school? Let's go to Paris. Are you excited to go to Paris?
Yeah.
So one says yes, one says no. Oui. Oh, one speaking French already. Ho ho. Okay, so the reason why we go to Paris is mainly because this young lady wants to practice French. She's been learning French at school for about 2 years, and Emmett, way in the back over there, starts in a few weeks. Well, he already practices a little bit on Duolingo, an app. But mainly Laila loves speaking and learning French, and even the teacher said that we have to support that. And what's the best way to support that? Well, go to France, where they speak French. So hopefully she'll have plenty of opportunities to practice her language skills.
Viens avec nous.
Yeah. And here we were in Pantin, a suburb of Paris. And this time we weren't just passing through. We were going to spend the summer here. For Laila, this meant something very different. Of course, we still wanted to do what we always do when we travel. See the sights. Eat the local food. Walk through neighborhoods. Discover the city as a family. But this trip had one additional purpose. We wanted Laila to experience French outside of school. Would she actually feel comfortable speaking it? Would she understand people when they speak back to her? Would she be brave enough to order something herself? Ask questions. Have real conversations. Well then, we finally arrived. After months of talking about it, we were finally here. And this was going to be our home for a while. That's our apartment here in Paris. Well, actually in Pantin. Not right in Paris, but it's a suburb of Paris. And I think very nice. Quite big. I expected it to be smaller, but I really like that. And there is a school down there. So we can see a little bit about French daily life. Arriving in Paris was only the beginning. Over the next few days, we were going to find out not just what BTS looks like at the FIFA World Cup, but also what Paris would actually be like for our family. Could Laila really use the French she had been learning at school? Would she actually speak to people? And would we, as a family, enjoy a full week in the world's most famous and most visited city? We were about to find out. And if you want to come along, like this video and subscribe, for our first days in Paris is coming next. Thank you for watching our travel journal.